What's up, everybody? So I got a question of how can I afford college? So let's kind of break this down and see what we can figure out. So first we need to think about is cost. For most colleges, there's an in-state cost and an out-of-state cost. And you want to be able to get out in-state costs if you want to, get a cheaper price. So if we're thinking about this for Idaho, if you want to get in-state, you got to live in Idaho for 12 months, and you have to have proof that you've been a resident of Idaho for 12 months. So you probably need an apartment or something that you can prove that you've been living here. So that would be your first step. So let's say you move to Boise. You can live here for a year, maybe you get a job and start working, and then after that year, then you can apply for college because now you are a resident and you'll get a cheaper cost. So per year, if we're including summer school, because I'm kind of doing this off the idea that you're going to have a part-time job. So with summer school, like not a full semester, but with a load that you can handle with a part-time job, at a community college, you're looking at somewhere between $5,000 to $6,000 for most community colleges. This is in Idaho. It's going to be different in other places. So there you go. That's the cost. And then for Boise State, if you're in state and you are again taking a little bit of classes in the summer, you're looking at about $12,000 per year. Okay, so that's going to be your cost. Now let's see how we can make those costs. So you need some income. So you get a job, let's say a part-time job, and if you're working about 20 hours a week at $10 an hour, that's going to end up being about $10,000 per year. That's not going to be quite enough. So when you're thinking about getting a job, when you're young, coming out of high school, you don't have a whole lot of skills. So, you might have to start at $10 an hour, and that's just the way life goes. And then you might have to work more hours. So maybe you got to work 30 hours here, and then you're making $15,000 a year. So, but if you can work into some other jobs, and as you gain more skills, particularly like service industry, so waiters, waitresses, they can make significantly more per hour. So maybe look at those type of jobs because you can make some more, especially if you become better at it. And if you're working $20 hours a week for 20 hours a week for $20 an hour, you can make about $20K a year. So that's kind of your ballpark range. And then as you can see, the next step would be budget. So let's say for most people, if you're monitoring your finances and trying to keep your costs low, you can live, at least in Idaho right now, Boise, for somewhere between $1,000 to $1,500 a month. A good average would be $12,000. So you should kind of look at, or $1,200. We'll get rid of that. So you should look at how much money you're currently making, or how much money you're currently spending, and see where you can cut costs. You're not going to be able to buy coffee every day on this kind of budget. And so what that ends up being is it's going to cost you about $12,000 to $15,000 a year to live in Boise. And so if we come back here and we try and look at that, if you're working 20 hours a week for $20 an hour, you're making about $20K. And if you're spending $12,000 to $15,000, you can actually make this community college expense. And you can go to community college for about 2 years, and then before you might need to change to a university to get a bachelor's. So you're good for your first 2 years if you can find that part-time work right there. Again, this isn't always easy. I'm making it sound easy. This is not easy, right? But you just gotta be on your game. And if you learn how to budget and if you learn how to do this, you're going to be way better off in the rest of your life in the real world. So it is possible to do that. Once you start looking at Boise State, $12,000 a year, and that's with the summer term in there. You need to find some other ways to work around this. So in the summer, you might have not as much work. So now maybe you can work 30 to 40 hours a week, right? And again, I didn't say this is easy. It can be very difficult. But you might need some loans with this or some additional assistance once you start paying those Boise State tuitions. So let me grab my other sheet here. Let's take a look at this. So some ways you can help yourself make up that shortcoming there, right? Again, if you're working part-time here, that $12,000 to $15,000 a year, that's not quite enough to pay that $12K, right? So you're going to be going into some type of debt. So then you want to think about applying for financial aid. So you can fill out the FAFSA. This is gonna, if you're under 24, this is gonna depend on how much your parents make. And so you can qualify for loans if they make under a certain amount, or you can qualify for Pell Grants. So loans you have to pay back, and so you want to be aware that you are not burying yourself in debt. Along with this, you want to think about how much money you can make when you get out of college so that you can make sure that you pay off those loans. Pell Grants you don't have to pay back. So if you're under 24 and your parents make a lot of money but they're not helping you, you're kind of in a more difficult situation because you don't get as much federal aid there. So there's that. You can apply for scholarships. There's all kinds of different ones. I tried to look up some websites online that you can apply, but I had to sign up, and so I'll let you guys do that. You can do some searches, and there are scholarships out there. You know, you got to write a paper or something, but that's possible, right? Get some of those. And then there's actually some really good programs for different jobs where they give you some work assistance. So I know Walmart does it for sure, where they do like $1 a day education. Now, this is only online and only at certain universities. I don't know all the choices, but you can look this up. And so if you're working, I don't think you have to work full-time. You might have to, but if you're working for Walmart and you agreed to the terms that, you probably have to work there for a while, they will give you college for $1 a day as long as you're working there, and you can earn your degree that way. So I think Ross might do this as well. So you can look this up because there are these situations, and that can be a great way to put yourself through college. And then, if you are paying those higher amounts and you can't work full time, sometimes you just need to take some time off. So maybe you don't want to take those summer classes, because I kind of calculated before with summer classes. So you can work full time in the summer, and 40 hours. I mean, to be honest though, if you're young and you're really trying to grind, you can put in 60 hours a week. And of course you need, if your job's willing to pay you overtime, that would be great. If not, you can pick up 2 jobs, right? And then you just try and work as hard as you can and make that money. So if you do that in the summer, you could be able to afford, those Boise State fees. It's not going to be fun, once again, but it is possible. And let's say you just take, a gap year or something so you can afford more schooling for the next year. What you can do is maybe you go to school for 1 year, working part-time. Then you maybe need to take a half year off, working full-time, so no school. And then you've saved up enough money, so now you can go back to your part-time job for another year while you take more classes. So you can kind of break up your education that way. You got to make sure you don't get lazy and don't go back. Oh, sorry, there you go. Make sure you don't get lazy and, so you don't go back to school, or so you never go back. But while you're taking that time off, you can take that time to teach yourself. With the internet right now, you have more knowledge than you've ever had at your fingertips. So you can start looking into what you actually want to study. Make sure that, you're spending your money wisely. So you're going down a career choice that you're going to either enjoy or be able to make a living at, right? Both are important. So I think that's a pretty good overview. I'll leave it there. So there are ways. You're going to have to be thrifty. You're going to have to be smart with your money. Go without some things that you maybe don't need. It's not going to be always comfortable, but it is possible. So, and I think people who do that actually get a lot more out of their education because they're actually working hard for it, and so they are going to study hard because they're, I think it makes you value your education more. So, anyways, there you go. There's some tips for getting through college. Because it can be expensive. So, anyways, if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.